Welcome back, Source Nation. Now here's your host, Kathy B.
Welcome back, Source Nation. You're listening live right here on the Ladies Lounge. You know, before break, I said that I have a beautiful and dynamic young lady here in the studio with me, and that's right. I am going to be speaking with Daphine Priscilla Brown-Jack. She's coming in tonight. She's going to tell us about a brand new book, The Other Side of the Story. But before I bring her in, I want to make sure that I definitely mention some sponsors, because this second half of the show would not be possible without them. And they are Paper to Stem as well as Revolutionary Mills. All right, I do believe that I have Daphine here in the studio with me. Again, she is the author of The Other Side of the Story. Daphine, hello and welcome to the Ladies Lounge. How are you?
I am wonderful. Thank you.
Awesome. Well, I'm excited to have you here in the studio with me and definitely speaking on your book, The Other Side of the Story. But before we begin that, Daphine, if you will, please share with the ladies as well as Source Nation who you are, and we'll jump into the conversation from there.
Okay. My name is Daphine Priscilla Brown-Jack. I am an author and a motivational speaker, and currently I'm in the process of getting ready to retire, so I'm totally excited about that. So I'm just looking forward to life. I enjoy life. I always say life is simple, and so that's what I believe, and I try to live a simple life, although, you know, you have your ups and downs in life, but when it's things that you have no control over, you just keep it simple. Just go through the process of whatever you're going through.
Awesome. I definitely understand that. And you're right. Life should be very easy, not complicated. We need to be enjoying it. But, you know, when we have a story to tell, Daphine, we have to do that. And sometimes that requires us putting in the work and the effort. Yes. I know that that's what we have to do. Well, tonight's conversation, ladies, as well as Source Nation, is on Daphine's brand new book, The Other Side of the Story. Daphine, I want to start here. Talk to us a little bit about why you wanted to bring this particular book to light and what has taken place on your journey.
Well, as I was going through my tribulation, if you want to call it, because, you know, it says that we go through trials and tribulations. So as I was going through, I one day said, wow, I need to probably tell someone about the story. And so that's what I wanted to do. And so I basically kind of kept a journal with what I was going through. And so after everything was over, I started writing and I put it together. And it was therapy for me, because the fact that I was reliving what I went through 5 years ago. It was good therapy, like I said. And so I just started writing, and next thing I know, I had a book. I was like, wow, this is pretty cool. But, you know, even when I talk about it now, you know, I'm reliving what I went through. I'm thinking that I'm good and I've passed everything, but I still have moments to where I have to kind of pause and regroup, and I'll be good after that.
Okay. Thank you for sharing that. Now, you mentioned there was a situation that took place 5 years ago. If you will, please, can you share with the ladies, as well as Source Nation, what took place 5 years ago? Because I'm sure that this is where your journey actually began, as to when you began to journal and you ended up with this fascinating book. Talk to us a little bit about what took place in your life 5 years ago.
Well, 5 years ago, as we were going on with our normal life, living and working and raising the kids, my husband and I, we had been married probably some 21, 22 years. And so one day I got a phone call from my middle daughter, and she said, Mom, something has taken place. Daddy's been accused of something. And I'm like, what? And my life right there was put on pause, so to speak. After living this decent life, being a good person, trying to do the right thing and being kind and everything, and all of a sudden it was on pause. And I'm like, okay, so why do I deserve this? I've done and tried to do all the right things. What's the purpose of this? It was almost like as if, oh, this is not supposed to happen to me type of mindset I was taking. And so he was wrongfully accused. And at this point in time, when it was brought to us, I'm thinking, okay, now I had to take myself as a law enforcement officer out of the equator of thinking that this is my husband. Oh, my God, I can't lose this man. He probably didn't know. I didn't do that. I looked at him as if he committed a crime until we went through the process of going through the investigation and all of that. But at that moment, he committed a crime because he was accused of a crime. And I chose not to share in the book exactly what it was because I kind of wanted to keep it generic to where whoever reads the book, they can more or less relate to the story of just something happened to her and she came out of it. That was the sole purpose of writing, and then just putting detail out there isn't healthy anyway for everyone involved. And so I kept it generic, and I kept it so that if you read it, whatever your situation is, you can be like, oh, wow, she went through that situation and came out. If she did it, I can do it too. So that's the reason we didn't go detailed, if you would say, in the book. But anyway, I looked at him as if he committed a crime, and I wasn't thinking, oh, my husband. No, it was like, what did this man do? And so, of course, going through the process and being questioned and being asked, and he had to move out of the house, and then my kids was taken from me. I was all alone at one point. But as we went through the process, of course, they returned the kids back, and I just shared how I dealt with that, even just having my children taken from me. And when they gave the rule of making sure I kept my kids safe, that's what I tried to do. And when they came and took my kids, I'm like, why did you take them? I'm trying to follow the rules. I followed your rules. And so they said to me, you know, I'm trying to protect my husband, and I was putting the kids in harm's way. Their grandmother passed away. My husband's mom passed away, my mother-in-law. So we just wanted the kids to go to the funeral. But they said the kids couldn't be around their dad. We didn't understand why. But anyway, the process went on, and I finally got the kids back. And, of course, they did miss their grandmother's funeral. And my second daughter, she's a singer, and my mother-in-law had already pre-planned her funeral and had everything set, and she wanted my daughter to sing her favorite song, and, of course, that didn't happen. So that put a damage on the kids as well as such an emotional trauma. But we went through the process of the criminal justice system, which I, being in law enforcement, really seeing how it operates now on the other side, which is, again, is the title of the book, The Other Side of the Story. So I'm looking at the criminal justice system now from the other side, dealing with going to court every month, going through a trial, and learning about the plea bargaining system and all of that, seeing that it can be fair, but then really it's unfair because so many in our communities take the plea bargain because they don't want to fight. So after going through the process and everything with my husband, and facts was given and it was proven that he didn't do anything during the course of this, then it was like, I have to help this man fight for his freedom. And when he was faced with plea bargains, to hear how they persuade you and tell you, if you don't take it, then we're going to give you 99 years to life in prison, and this is that, and so he was like, well, I can take, and I said, if you take it, I put in my finger in his face. At that time, I was angry, and I said, if you take it, you better find you somewhere else to live. They were offering him a probation. And, you know, they said, well, guess what, Daphne, he can go home if he takes the plea bargain. I said, if he take it, he needs to find somewhere else to live. And he said, but I didn't do anything. I said, well, if you didn't do anything, you need to fight. And my son said, Daddy, we need to go to trial so I can talk and tell the truth. And so from that point on, and this was during the first trial that we went through, from that point on, he got hold and realized that I have to fight. If you're telling the truth, I have to fight. And that's what he did. And so he got a hung jury the first time. So we had to wait a whole year, 2011, 2012, a whole year before we went to trial the second time. And that's when we actually got our victory.
Wow. You have said some amazing things here, Daphine, and I want to make sure that Source Nation and definitely the ladies here in the lounge fully understand. So I'm going to go back within your story and talk about some certain areas that I feel that are very important for us to get a full understanding in reference to the other side of the story. Now, I want to begin at the very beginning when your daughter called and basically said that your husband was accused of potential crime. And, from what I have gathered here, you all are a very close-knit family based on the fact that you and your husband have had, pretty much a happy marriage. You've been together for 21 plus years. And the fact now that something has taken place within the family, within the marriage, it has caused you to think something different. You're looking at a man that you were happily married to, and now he's being falsely accused. So I want to stop right there. Because to me, knowing that I've been in a marriage and everything has been great, we've raised our children, we have family and friends, we have grandchildren, everything is happy, but now you have this tragic situation come in. As a wife, talk to us about how you were feeling at that moment in time. What were your feelings like?
Well, at that moment in time, and I guess I can kind of share a secret that I don't mind sharing with everyone. Being married for so many years to one person, for me, was like, this is really getting kind of boring, maybe. Not that I was going to tip out or whatever, but you know how you be together for so long and it's a routine. And, we had fun together and enjoying the kids, but then it becomes like you stop appreciating one another. And it sometimes calls you to kind of just like, okay, whatever. And so to me, with this interruption in our life, was able to not separate the family, but it brought my husband and I together. Yes. It brought us together because the fact that I began to look at him, this man is being accused of something. I have to help him. I have to help him. So that's what I did. And like I said, it brought the family, even the children. You know how the children get. And, we raised them not to be disrespectful. But at the same time, we've been together all these years.
That's true.
But it just brought the family together. It made me appreciate my husband more. Not that I didn't in the past, but we have those days. And so I began to appreciate him more during that time. And then to see a grown man cry, that was not cool. And I'm like, wow, this is pretty serious. And I was able to really do some soul searching where I am, where I was at the time, with our relationship. And so that's what it did for the family.
That is powerful.
Yes.
Now, I want to also go to this part of your story and journey. Basically, you said that now that your husband was faced with a crime that he did not commit, being that you have been in law enforcement, you're now on the other side, and you can now see exactly how the judicial system can react and how it reacts really. And I'm going to say this, ladies in Source Nation, how it can be when it comes to an African American male facing a crime that he did not commit. Okay, because you mentioned in your story, Daphine, that they said that he needed to take a plea bargain, okay? And we necessarily know that a plea bargain may not be the best thing for you to do. Just as you stated to your husband, he needed to fight. So if you will, please, talk to the ladies here in Source Nation exactly what is a plea bargaining and why did they feel that this was the best route for your husband to take? Can you share that with us?
Sure. A plea bargain basically is, if I could put it in layman term, a plea bargain is basically saying, in other words, giving you a good deal versus taking it to a quote-unquote trial. They're having to hire a jury and go in the courtroom. That's a court cost. So the easy way out is to get the defendant to take a deal, and then what they do, they'll reduce what they initially is charged with. For instance, say it was an aggravated robbery, knowing it was a gun used in the crime or whatever the case may be. But, hey, guess what? We have a better deal for you. We'll reduce it down to robbery. That way you won't have to take as much time. We'll give you a probation. So the prosecutor will, or the state will, get with the defense attorney and say, hey, look, if we reduce this, tell your guy he won't have to go to jail. He'll just get whatever time he spent, and he'll just have to report every month for the next 10 years to the probation officer. So he won't get any prison time. So the guy is faced with, let's just use the worst case scenario, the person is in jail. So his easy way out is to take that versus staying in jail the whole time, because the process can be long. You have people who might stay in jail 3 to 4 years. For instance, if my husband hadn't had the support system that he had and using his 401k and all of that to get out of jail, he probably could have stayed in jail the whole time. So when you're faced with a good deal, and then they'll tell you, well, if you take this deal, you won't go to prison, most people will cop out and take that. And that's what the plea bargaining system does to our society. It causes us to cop out. And all it's doing is, as far as I'm concerned, and you probably feel the same, okay, I committed this crime, so let's get this over with. That's what it's saying to me.
Right. I feel the same way, Daphine. You know, I think sometimes when we are facing a situation or a dilemma such as this, and someone who's not really wanting to work a whole lot, they will suggest something just so it's easy for them. And that's sad.
Yes.
Especially, again, when it comes to the African-American community. We see so much that goes on, and we know that pretty much within the system, that 95% of what you're going to see is an African-American male or female that is facing crimes, okay? And you have folks that know that they've done wrong, and you definitely have folks that have not. And for the ones, I feel, and this is just my opinion, Source Nation, the ones that have not committed a crime, to me, I feel like it is that much more of a harsh situation to be in. And the reason why I say that is because they're wanting you to take on a crime that you did not commit, and they want you to take on a sentence that should not even be, if that makes sense. So I want to talk about that, because with that being said, you know, they're wanting your husband to take this plea bargaining for whatever length of time was going to take away from his life and take away from the family. So not only you're punishing him, but you're punishing the family. And it shouldn't be. So let's talk about that. What are your thoughts?
Well, when that happens, yes, as you stated, it's unfair to the person who is accused, and then, of course, it's unfair to the family. So now you're putting the family, because you've taken this plea bargain, you're still taking money from the family, because when you're on a probation, you have to pay a certain amount of monies every month. So the inconvenience, if you admit that you had a can of beer when you were young, that's going to put you in a substance abuse class. So now you got to pay for that. And it just kind of tears the family apart, because, like I told you, had he taken a plea bargain, I probably wouldn't have had a story, you know, because I would have sent him his way and I would have went my way. So it would have called for me. I can only speak for me. Now, I've actually had another family member who was just tired of going to court, and he copped out on a plea bargain for something he didn't do. And all I could say to him was, dude, why did you do this? He said, I just got tired and I'm paying the attorney and this is that. I said, you were supposed to fight. You were supposed to fight no matter what. You were supposed to fight. So that's what it takes a person to, it's not good. It's not good. People actually get prison time for something they did not do. They sat in jail, and because of the nature of the crime, they had to go to prison. Or you get the guy that actually went on trial and didn't take the plea bargain, and they said if you go to trial, they being smart about it. Okay, you taking this to trial. Okay, guess what? You lose, you go to prison for how many ever years. And the person, it's a risk factor, too, because you're taking a chance on not knowing what the jury is going to say. Then they might decide to use the judge. The judge might be like, well, they must have done something, so we don't give him this time, whatever the case may be. So that's how that system, to me, is not good. And for the people who have committed a crime, it's okay. Maybe I shouldn't use the word okay, because the fact that they can get a lesser sentence for a crime they committed.
Right.
It can go from a murder to voluntary manslaughter, which is less time. So they'll go to prison and spend so much time and then come out on parole. And they've committed a murder, but they dropped the sentence down, and got less years. It's weird. And then at the end of the day, it still boils down to being unfair.
That's right. And that's why I say what I said in the very beginning. A person that who did not commit the crime, the sentence and punishment is that much harsher because, one, you did not commit the crime. And two, if you have family, your family is being punished right along with you. So that sentence itself is longer. And I like that. Ladies in the lounge and Source Nation, I want to let you know that we are speaking with the beautiful and talented and author, Daphine Priscilla Brown-Jack. She is from Houston. She's a law enforcement officer, author, and inspirational motivational speaker. And the conversation is all about her brand new book, The Other Side of the Story. Now, Daphine, you have given us some great information. And again, thank you so much for agreeing to come on and speak with us about that. I want to talk about the second trial and give the ladies of Source Nation a full understanding what took place in the second trial and get your thoughts on that, because you said the first trial, if I'm not mistaken, was in a hung jury. So with that being said, if it was a hung jury, why would you need the second trial? Can you share that information with us?
Sure. With the hung jury, if it was favor for us, if it was more than 6 people, then we probably would not have to have a second trial. But it was not in our favor because everybody was pretty much on the same page that something had to happen, even with not having enough concrete evidence. They stated the fact that, well, something must have happened. But it was that it started out with 2 people saying not guilty, and they convinced the next person to go in favor with them of the guilty verdict. But it was one person that stated, with all of this going on, how could y'all convict this man? He said, this man did nothing. And this is the words that we received from our attorney. So with that, because it was in the state's favor, that's the reason we waited about a year and had to have a second trial, because it was in favor of the state, because with the hung jury. So the second trial, of course, came up. It finally came, and it was tough because now we're being faced with this man could go to prison for something he did not do. And everything was proven more or less in the first trial, but because of, and not to badger our legal team, but just not really being familiar with that particular crime and the criminal justice system and everything, that's the reason we probably didn't win the first time. And again, from the spiritual side of it, not to offend anyone, with my spiritual beliefs, it was all in God's plan. So when the second trial came up, we went through the process, and with me being in law enforcement, I was able to testify this time around and able to tell what I witnessed and what I encountered. And so I was more or less like an expert witness because of my knowledge in the law enforcement field and the criminal justice system. So with all of that, we went from Tuesday to Friday. We testified Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, the state rests, the defense rests, and that Friday was the day. They did their closing argument, and we sat there, and my husband that morning went to my oldest daughter and told her, in the event that I go to prison, these are the things that I want you to do. Be responsible, for your mom, and this is that and the other. And she said to him, Daddy, you're coming back home. So we went and we got our victory. He was able to come back home. So,
wow.
Yeah, because of what they didn't have, I won't even say didn't have enough. They had facts that he did nothing wrong.
It's amazing, and I'm glad that you shared that with us because we actually had a question to come in that I would love to ask, and you can give clarification. Sure. And the question reads, at any time during this whole ordeal, did your husband serve some time? And if so, where did it leave you and the family?
He didn't serve any time. He did one overnight in jail, and then he was picked up from his job and went to jail. And it's so amazing how things happen. When he was picked up from the house to go to jail, they came to the house, and that was such a horrible moment. We got up that morning, so I was going through the house. Everybody was doing it and started moving around. And so our foyer, we have an open window, and you can look out the window. You can see outside, but you really can't see inside. And so I looked out the window, and I saw these guys standing outside. I was like, what's going on? So I opened the door. I said, yes. And they had their hands on their guns. And I was like, whoa, what's going on? We're here for such and such and such. I was like, okay, he's in the room. So they ran in and kind of moved me to the side. I was like, look, dude, what's going on? Come to find out, they had refiled the case again, which I share in the story. So they refiled, and they picked him up, and they handcuffed him and put him in the car. So I'm like, oh, my God, this is for real. This is so for real. So I'm like, wow. And then my middle daughter, who was very aggressive with all of this, because it was an emotional trauma on the kid. And so she was like, why y'all doing my daddy like that? He didn't do nothing. Then I told the officer, I'm a law enforcement officer myself. And then he turned and apologized to me. And he said, I'm so sorry, but we're just following procedures and protocol and everything. And my daughter kept saying, my daddy didn't do nothing. I was like, just hold on, be quiet. But anyway, he wound up going to jail. And at this point in time, we were getting ready for work, so all of us just stayed home that day. I had to figure out what is it I needed to do because he actually was handcuffed and went to jail. And so my instinct was to do whatever I need to do to get him out of jail. And I'm thinking, oh, my God, this man is going to jail. So when he finally called me the next day, and the first thing he said to me, and it was so pitiful, he said, are you going to get me out of jail? He said, I want to get out of here. And his tone and his voice was just so powerful and so like, oh, my God, this man is going through this. I got to help him. So I told him, I said, yes. I said, I'm working on it now. I said, I should be getting you out soon. So I gained this compassion for him in this ordeal, and I was like, I have to help this man out. That's how I was referring to him, not my husband, this man. I had to help him out. So that was the first time he went, and so we were able to follow the process and go through and get him out of jail. And, of course, you take the bad and turn it into good, because he was able to share what it was like being in jail, not being in jail myself. I'm like, dude, what happened? And so, he met a couple of people, and so he made that bad into good.
Mm-hmm.
That's a lesson learned for all of us. We take our bad and find some good in it. So the second time that he went, they refiled the case again, and this was leading us on into this second trial. So they went to his job. He called me. I was at the office, and I said, hey, what's going on? He said, they're here to pick me up. I said, who? And he said, the police. And I was like, wow. I said, okay, so what do I need to do? So he had the officer to get on the phone, and, he spoke to me. He said, now, this is what I want you to do. He said, we're not going to take him to the county. We're going to keep him at the city jail. He said, you do it, you post your bond and everything. And before we got off the phone, I said to him, I said, officer, I said, can you answer a question for me? Because here's where the doubt is still in my mind a little bit. I said, did my husband do anything? He said, honestly, ma'am, he said, no. He said, I've read over the case. He said, no. He said, you just do what I told you to do. We're going to keep him at the jail, and you come and get your husband out of jail. Mm-hmm. And so I was like, okay. I was like, fine. So I did whatever I needed to do. And at this point in time, he was angry. He was actually showing an anger of having to go through the system and had not done anything wrong.
Right.
And so that's how we dealt with it. It bothered us some more, but we got through it.
Wow. Just an amazing story within itself, your triumph of seeing a system that can be corrupt, but yet as a family, you all bonded together to help your husband through an ordeal that can clearly tear up a family and ruin a person that has done so much good in his community, within his church, and among his family and friends. So I love the fact that you all were able to do that. Now, since the ordeal, how's everything been for you and your family and your husband, and what are your thoughts on the judicial system now?
Well, and I forgot to plug in, Kathy, he was military too.
Oh, wow.
He was a military man, yeah. Mm-hmm. He was a military man. So that played a big factor because he had goals that he was trying to accomplish, which was one of the things that allowed my mind to think that this man is wanting to retire from the military. Why would he go and commit a crime? I had to look at the big picture of that. So with all of that, along with the military, that played a big factor, and he was able to retire from the military. So fast forward to your question. Right now, the family we're happy. It has made us stronger. Mm-hmm. And when little things come up within the family, within our lives, situations come up, we know how to handle them now. And it's funny because it's like when something come up that's negative or whatever, I'd be like, okay, God, you're into something. So I'm strong enough to handle it now.
Yes.
I said, I'm going to hang in there because I know you're up to something good. And sure enough, it's always in our favor. Because like I said earlier, going through the trials and tribulations of this life, you have to hold on to whatever you're faced with. Now, what I went through, you probably can't go through. And what you go through, I probably can't go through what you went through. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, we have to go through. And that key word, through, is just how it says. That means if you're going to go through, you have to come out somewhere.
That's right.
Whether it be my 5 years, or it could be your 2 years, or it could be your week, or whatever the case may be, you are only going through, and you got to come out.
Mm-hmm. That's true. That's true. Wow. Yeah. Great information that you have shared, Daphine, with us. You truly have given us an understanding of what the criminal justice system is like, and the fact that if you are wrongfully accused, you could be treated the same exact way as a criminal who has done something wrong. The fact is that, you know, the family bonded together with you as the fearless leader because you knew that there was something more that needed to be done and definitely begin to have a voice. So I definitely can appreciate that. As we are wrapping up, Daphine, if you will, please, we always like to leave either with some encouraging word or possibly some tips and advice that we have not shared. If you wish to contribute, I would love for you to do so at this time.
Okay, I appreciate that. Currently, my family, and I can say the Jack family, I'm in the process, as I told you earlier, of retiring, which is going to give me more liberty to really voice my opinion about the criminal justice system and then formally tell what I used to do in law enforcement. And what it has done is allowed me to create an organization that's going to be dealing with the criminal justice system. And what we are going to do is to educate as young as sixth graders on up to high school about the criminal justice system. And then as well reach out to other people that need knowledge about the system. And not only those people, then we're going to reach out to the exonerees who were wrongfully convicted. They are in need of, you know, employment, housing, mental health care, and health care and everything. So my organization, which is called Prevention Zone, we will be launching that hopefully so in the fall. Everything is going well and coming along. So we're looking forward to launching that. But some words of encouragement, I would say, is to do what you need to do in a positive way, and to always strive to do right, because in the end, right always wins. Right always wins. And that's what I've raised my kids on, being honest and being right. Just do the right thing. It's so easily to do the wrong thing and be easily even persuaded to do the wrong thing. But always remember to do right, because in the end, right always wins. And then I have this other saying, that when you live a lie, you tell a lie. Okay? If you're living a lie, it's so easy to tell a lie. And, you know, you have to tell a lie to cover up another lie, and so on and so on. So that's why, again, back to what I say, always strive to do right and be honest and have integrity and believe in yourself. And trust me, when you do all of those things, your life can be simple.
Yes, I love that. Daphine, again, thank you so much for being on and definitely coming in the lounge and giving us some great information on what you are going through and what you've been able to bring to your community, the awareness of the criminal justice system and how it's very important to continue to voice. If you have not done something wrong, have that voice and continue to fight. I love that. If you will, share with the ladies of Source Nation, how can we get more information about you and continue to support you in your efforts?
Okay, I appreciate that. You can go to my website if you would like to purchase my book, The Other Side of the Story. You can go to Daphine, Daphine, Jack, JACK.com. My website is DaphineJack.com. I do have a Facebook page, and it's titled Keep Life Simple. You can go on there and find me and like my page. And I do have a Twitter, Daphine B. Jack, and I'm found on Twitter. And then, of course, the book is also on Amazon, Barnes & Noble, Goodreads. And I looked and Googled my name one day. I just popped up everywhere. I was like, oh, my goodness, wow. That Walmart. I was like, goodness. You could go to even Walmart. Walmart even able to get copies for you. My goal one day is to see my book on the shelf at Walmart, because I walk by the book area and I'd be like, I'm looking for my book. It's going to be there soon. But anyway, but that's how you can reach out to me. And if you have any questions on my website, you can leave a message. It's a little tab there. You want to leave a message, and I will respond back.
Awesome. Well, again, Daphine, thank you so much for being here on the Ladies Lounge, and definitely I appreciate all that you are doing within your community, definitely having the fearlessness to take on such of a magnitude as this, the crime that your husband did not commit. You decided to go to the forefront and say, look, we got to make this right. Make this right. Yes. And in order for us to make this right, we have to fight. And I love that. Yes. I love that you decided to do that for your husband. I know that he's very much appreciative. And the fact that now, oh yeah, he is. I know he is.
He is.
He might not say it, Daphine. He might not say it. But you his superwoman. You his superwoman.
Yeah. Because he did say, Kathy, I was like, look, when we were going through, I was like, look, you know what, you can pack your stuff and just leave. Just go away. So he said, well, I don't have nowhere to go. You all are my family. I know he appreciates me.
Well, I love it. Daphine, I'm wishing you much success. And I know that you are going to do very well with what you're doing in regards to the other side of the story. And we definitely look forward to hearing more great things about you.
Yeah, if you need a speaker, you can always call me. I'm here. I love to run my mouth and just share good things about life.
Awesome. Well, again, Daphine, thank you so much for being here in the Ladies Lounge.
All right.
We will speak with you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Well, ladies, here in the Ladies Lounge, you've heard it right there from Miss Daphine Priscilla Brown-Jack. She is an author, a motivational, inspirational speaker, and the conversation was all about her brand new book, The Other Side of the Story. What I love most about this conversation was the fact that Daphine said that we have to fight. She gave voice to the criminal justice system, how it can definitely be when someone is falsely accused of a crime. Just as I said, ladies and Source Nation, the fact is there is a large number of African-American males as well as females and, yes, other nationalities that are behind bars right now. The difference between the ones that are serving time and what Daphine was able to do was the fact that she knew that her husband could not have committed that crime. And the fact that the judicial system said to her, as well as her husband, the only option is a plea bargaining, that's what we can offer him right now. They decided that that was not what they wanted to do, and they had to fight. And I love the fact that she gave voice to that. So, with that being said, if you know of a friend, of a loved one, or someone that may be looking at a situation like this, tell them to fight. Hey, if you know you didn't commit the crime, say you didn't commit the crime. And then get to work. Reach out to Daphine and tell her, share your story with her so that way she can give you the advice that you need, because I'm telling you, there are so many that have decided to say, okay, well, I'm going to accept this and, I'm going to do what I have to do and I will look at life later. No, don't do that. Give voice and fight. Again, thank you so much, Daphine, for coming in tonight. All of her information and more can be found on Kathy B's Source Radio Network, as well as our main station page, Source Radio Network. Well, guys, thank you so much for being here in the Ladies Lounge. We'll definitely look forward to having more great conversation and dynamic guests next week back here at the Lounge. You all have a great night and be blessed.